Oh my God! Really?
Sorry.
Uh-oh. Wait, what?
So we can say whatever we want right now.
Now they can't.
Bastard.
So apparently, having
really
revealed
Genova Plus guys in there right now.
having revealed all of Anna's secrets on air, which she told me to shush about, the mic was actually not on.
Oh.
So none of you get to know her secrets and how it is that she's so amazing and does all of this stuff.
It was juicy. It was juicy.
I'm Tyler. This is Geek Space TV, and we are running Games of Divinity, the Exalted RPG that we run every Friday from 6 till 9-ish. Sometimes we run a little long. A high fantasy adventure RPG with swords and sorcery, but of a decidedly Chinese kung fu-ish bent, adding some, Jack Vance? Yeah, Jack Vance, Dying Earth type craziness, and dead gods, and necromancer. And sometimes they steal robot arms if they're named Kaz. So, thank you for stopping by and watching our show. And if you're not watching our show live, you're listening to us in the future or otherwise occupied with VOD, YouTube, what have you, other video hosting services. We love you anyway because you don't need to be here. It's not like this is old style TV where, once it's done, it's gone. It's the internet, so everybody will remember everything I've ever screwed up. Mm-hmm. Yeah!
I shouldn't say anything embarrassing then.
Too late. So, let's introduce the cast and the characters real quick.
Hi, I'm Steph. You can follow me on Surfer Junkie on Twitter. I have a lot of unpopular opinions and animal pictures. I play Korosek, who is a very small scholar thief and loves summoning demons, and she always just wants to have the best time.
Monster Buddy.
Monster Buddy.
Hi everyone, my name is Algernon Bolden. You can find me at Algernon Bolden. I'm a dev over at Hairbrain Schemes. We make games such as, I'm going to do a short time. We make Battletech. You should check it out. It's a lot of fun. And today I play for you Whist, who is short for Of the Seventh and Second Wistful Sigh. He is a relatively rich merchant slash carver from a notable family, and we found out last week that he has daddy issues. A lot of daddy issues. So, he's a twilight of the group. He's here to be kind of responsible-ish, I guess, and pretentious.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aria. You can find me on Twitter at Genki Soda. I will rant about random things and post memes, and then maybe get sleepy. My character, if I get really hyper, then usually crash afterwards. It's a very common theme in my life. My character is Avalokiteshvara, who is a doctor turned necromancer, who is absent-minded professor plus accidental flirt plus
Ghost salad.
Ghost salad, basically ghost salad. And when I'm not doing this, instead of telling you about my job, I'm going to tell you about this really cool thing called Swing Dance. If you want to make nerdy friends, you should do that. I'm on a nonprofit trying to get more people into it. But in your local community, I guarantee you, shy nerds are trying to make friends by not having to talk to anybody, but getting to dance.
Dancing shy nerds. Come to Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they can't be that shy then. I mean,
My name is Andy Solorsano. That's how most people know me in the real world. And on the internet, I'm known as Space_Cat189. In this little world of Exalted of ours, my name is Kaz. I am a northerner character, sort of like warrior-like. It's pretty cool, but the coolest part is not the fact that I'm a warrior. I got this buddy with me. He's not actually this size. He's much larger. He's totally rideable. If this was me, this is how big the wolf is. That's how it goes. Another really cool part about my character is I can't read. I can read in real life, but Kaz can't read. So
And you shoot your friends.
I shoot my
You
friends
also collect
sometimes.
books.
I shoot my friend, one so far.
Didn't it happen twice?
No.
No, it
happened
has
once.
happened.
no, it happened.
But we'll see by the time that this one's over.
Is that threat?
I'm Sally. He shot me. He shot my character. I'm Sally. I'm Silly Jupiter on Twitter. I guess we're all describing what we do on Twitter. What do I do on Twitter?
You ignore my messages. No, I'm kidding. You're funny on Twitter. You make a lot of funny comments about your bowels. That does
True.
happen. You have great memes, great cat pictures.
Great memes, good
That's-
cats.
like
Good
really
cats,
good
Sums
really
it
good
up.
cats.
Sums it up. I
Oh,
had that really hot take about James Cameron the other day.
oh, yeah.
And then a bunch of people got a little saucy with me
Oh,
about
fuck
it,
'em.
and I was like, who's the one with 17 retweets? This one, right
Yeah.
here.
Fuck you, Jim Cameron. What do you got? 3 more avatars? Like, we need more than one.
17.
17 more
17.
fucking
That no
avatars.
one asked for.
We don't want one.
No one
James,
asked
Jim.
for it.
But
The
no.
fuck? Make Terminator.
But tell me how
Garbage.
Wonder Woman can't be attractive and strong at the same
Oh, yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
No.
Sorry.
Fuck, no. It's
Yeah, so I'm Silly Jupiter. I have a Twitch channel as well, which is also Silly Jupiter, and I play Zarhava of the Golden Tongue, High Priestess of the Unconquered Sun. I have a little lion. Her name's Anshul, but I don't have a stuffed version, but you'll have to take my word for it. And yeah, she's a real sassy, well-off priestess who's good at talking words.
I missed Sally. Hi, my name is Drunkly Romantic, or Marcus, if you know me, and if you don't know me, you can still call me that. It's fine. I do a Twitch channel. Follow me on Twitter at Drunkly Romantic. You can follow me on Twitch at
You did
Drunkly
describe your
Romantic.
Twitter.
I did this. Oh, okay, so my Twitter, I post a lot of stuff. About what's in my head on Twitter. I use Twitter. I don't retweet a lot. I use Twitter. That's all I do. If you wanna just know what's going on in my head.
Send me way too many messages.
I send her messages like
But I
30
just-
messages a day. I'm like,
but I
Sally,
like
what's
it.
up? How you feeling? What's going on? What are you doing? What's
Cool.
up? No, I don't even respond to messages. I don't send anyone messages. That's what you want. What am I doing? What was I was introducing
What's
myself.
your
on?
character?
You
What's
can
your
check me
character,
out
buddy?
at Drunkly Romantic on Twitch. I host a show every Monday through Friday where we do nonsense. I am currently playing a character named Manos, who is kind of a drunk wanderer who is very, very good at shooting things with its fire guns, essentially, or their flame wands. And I have not shot a single teammate. And I just want to, I know we're trying to get over that, but I have not once.
Who's there to try to get over that?
High roller
Yeah.
here. High roller.
So my character, that's basically what there is there, and I am happy to be here. I'm also having the literal best week of my entire life right now. So why don't we end this week fucking great? Let's do
Great.
it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's do it, guys. Come on.
Last thing before we start, I don't know if any of you are in. What?
I have a list.
Oh, you have a list of things. Give me the list. That's fine. I'll get to.
I need to make you a better list.
Oh, your list is Patreon. Pre-launch rewards has a survey. Fan art has a submission form, which I'm going to interpret as our Patreon is live. If you want to support us in a non-donating bits on Twitch way, there are reward tiers, I believe, and they will get you things, but I don't know what those things are because this list just says Patreon. So there's that. Pre-launch rewards has a survey. I assume that this is a survey of stuff you want to see or stuff you want. No?
Pre-launch is stuff you're gonna need to repeat what I say because they can't.
Okay. I will now. I am now the
people
mouthpiece.
That backed us
The people that backed us
and want their rewards.
and want their rewards.
Do you take this woman?
Do you take it? Only if I could put her over my shoulder, though.
There's a survey if people want their rewards from
Oh.
having backed us.
Yeah, there's the survey is for if people want their rewards from having backed us before our channel went live. And fan art has a submission form. I think that's fairly self-explanatory. If you want to send us fan art, use a submission form because we like fan art. It's
And we
fun.
want to credit them.
Yeah, and we most importantly want to give you credit for your fan art. 'Cause
Also, I've seen some really cool and hilarious shit, so please.
Yes.
Please do.
So yes, the last thing I was going to say is if any of you are in the Seattle area, you should go to Geek Girl Con this weekend because I can guarantee at least 2 of us, probably 3 of us, will be there doing stuff. So yeah, it's fun. It's cool. And when last we left Games of Divinity, they had been invading the Manse of the Ardent Phoenix, a magical house that moved through space and time that was laden with traps, mechanical monstrosities, horrible monsters made of latex and dream theft, and a wide variety of things that would basically cause your life to end or it to be extremely unpleasant and then end, in a search for one of the 3 parts to the artifact that they are trying to reconstitute and keep out of the hands of the realm, the foremost military force and political force in Exalted. Essentially a combination of Imperial Rome and Imperial China crammed together. In the process, going around the opposite way than when we introduced ourselves, Monos engaged in gunplay with a number of large mechanical automata that were guarding the location, burned them to pieces, and then proceeded to truck around with his fellows, such as Whist. And
No,
you
You kept doing that.
I kept doing that. This is the problem.
I was hanging out with Monster Buddy and Ghost Salad.
That's right. Yes,
Buddies.
yes. We made Monster Buddy and
I
Ghost
found
Salad.
romance novels. It was great.
Yeah, they looted a library. He got two books out of a 5-book romance novel set,
4 and 3.
which is pretty good.
4 and 3.
At
you
least they're
read
contiguous. He also managed to avoid causing any problems.
Yes.
Kaz and Whist found thas in a rearranging room puzzle, only to be dumped out into an arboretum with lots of cool old plants, and a bas-relief history of the manse, its creator, her life, her death, and then their eventual arrival, and them coming to that specific spot with a bas-relief that was infinitely them looking at a bas-relief of them looking at a bas-relief of them looking at a bas-relief, on and on and on and on.
It's bas-reliefs all the way down.
Yeah, it's like Turtles, except it's bas-reliefs.
Just like that scene in Spaceballs.
I was actually thinking from...
What
scene
scene
in
in Spaceballs?
Where they're like we're watching the movie Spaceballs now. And it's like, yeah, but at what? Wait, what?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they're
I
trying to
was
see what
definitely
happens in
not-
the future, and
Yeah,
then
and
it's
they
like,
fast-
luckily
they
we have
fast-forward
this
to the
thing called
VHS.
pre-release.
Yeah, they had the Hey guys, Spaceballs.
And,
Check it out on the
and
web.
Kaz started to lose his mind a little bit when he saw images of somebody that he assumed was his sister, his missing sister, who has been taken, and events involving his own life. And unfortunately, neither of them could speak or read Old Realm. So Whist's solution was to make carvings of all of the bas-reliefs so that he would have copies of them. Because when you've got the craftsman needs no tools and you don't have to spend a long time to do that, hey, that actually works out pretty well.
Oh, I was thinking of Space Jam. You said Spaceballs. That makes sense, and I don't agree. Sorry.
No, I was.
I love Spaceballs.
Eventually, Whist and Kaz found themselves in a strange puzzle of shadowy nothingness leading to the grand vault where all of the essentially all of the loot that Ardent Phoenix had pilfered was located. Unfortunately, it was a mind lock trap wherein they could not repeat certain words, and if they repeated any of those words, they would forget those words, and ended up getting trapped with portions of their memories being excised and devoured by horrible monstrosities attached to the back of their head, which Kaz realized and promptly cut up. Whist, however, not so lucky. So he's got some missing memories, which at some point I'll probably figure out and drop on him to make his life extra fun. And by fun, I mean worse.
Yay!
I hate you so much.
It's my job here is not quite done, but it's underway. Svara and Korosek also went to the library to pilfer and loot things, including some treatises on necromancy and the origins of the underworld. A series of books on demonology, if I'm not mistaken, yeah?
A
And
series of books of like missing.
yes,
missing histories.
and things that have been covered up, etc., because these histories,
Cross-referencing
yeah,
a lot of things.
these are histories from prior to the collapse of the First Age, so people couldn't get in here to remove the histories and make them missing.
And I got the scroll of the Ardent Phoenix.
Yes, the instructional scroll for the sidereal martial arts style Ardent Phoenix Ascendant, which was rumored to exist, and only martial artists with a lot of knowledge, say Korosek, would have known that, but she did know that, so she's like, yep, taking that now. So, with that, we flash back in time. We have to, because nobody knows where Zarahava's been or what she's been doing. So we flash back in time to the Orchid Ever Blooming, the freehold, which was recently destroyed by dropping a manse nearby, ruining the geomancy, wherein Zarahava and Monos had been taken off to have a discussion with one of the two rulers of this freehold. Whereas Whist had been dealing with the Princess of Nectars, her brother Azurleaf Datura, because you can't be one of the fair folk without a flowery name, especially if you've got flowers growing out of you, where he had decided to treat with the ambassador and discuss possibly beneficial arrangements between the two of them. So consequently, Zarhava and Monos have been led back into essentially a cavern with a number of crystal formations that are growing through the cavern and out into the outer world. So they're functioning as prisms and mirrors to funnel sunlight down inside this cavern. And inside there's lots of mushrooms and toadstools, moss and things like that that have been carefully sculpted bonsai style to create chairs and tables and a little place to sit down and enjoy a light repast of tea and some small nuts and berries that this gentleman has had brought. And if I can remind you, he is, partially made out of wood and has some leaves and flowers and things growing out of him. And as he sits down, he grows a flower out of the palm of one of his hands and plucks it off and puts it in a vase in the center of the table as a nice little centerpiece there.
Gross.
Madam, please,
That's what Groot does too, right?
Yeah.
will you join me?
Yes.
And your friend?
You could ask me if you want.
He's with me. It's fine. It's fine.
He'll gesture and another mushroom grows out of the ground to form a stool.
Thank you. That's very thoughtful.
So I understand, based on what my sister told me of Kaz, I believe his name is,
Yes.
that there are those of you that I have just met, some humans, geomancers and the like, and you're undertaking some kind of survey of the land.
Of sorts, yes.
To what end, if I may be so bold?
Well, there's only so much that we can reveal, of course. I can promise that it's nothing to be concerned about. We're researching certain stories, certain pieces of information that we seek, but it's truly nothing to be concerned about. So.
It's not really a concern, it's simply, if I can aid you, perhaps you can aid me. A tit for tat, so to speak.
What could we possibly do to help you? What could we possibly add?
I should like to ask you for a favor before I describe that.
Okay.
And the favor is this. I will tell you what I desire and be honest about it. If you will do me the courtesy of swearing that you will tell no one about this that is a resident of the freehold that is not here. And in return, you tell me what you want, and I promise that I will tell no one without your say-so what it is that you want.
What?
Let us keep each other's secrets.
I can make this. I can make this trade. This is fair.
Excellent. You've met my sister, yes?
Yes.
She's a bit of a ravenous monster when it comes to particular excesses, ones that I don't find myself too interested in. There is an exorcist from the nation that I believe that you are from, or perhaps were most recently in, Hermopolis. The exorcist has set up camp in some of the villages around here and has prevented her from stealing people and devouring their herd. This has made her very upset. And she's been rallying some of our subjects and our high commander of the cataphracts to cause storms and terror and try and rile things up to scare people away so that we can steal some of them. I believe she took some of the crew from your airship.
Sounds about right.
This is her nature. She is a hunter and a predator. I am not. I'm a gardener. I believe that this brings a little bit too much attention to my sister and I and our particulars here in this valley. Eventually, word's going to get out, and someone with cold iron arrowheads or blades is going to come here, and they're going to make our lives very difficult because we're not laying low.
And yet you considered yourself to be laying low prior when she was kidnapping.
No, it was previous
folks.
to that. It was when we became the rulers, her excesses grew in size and voraciousness.
So, is it your sister that you want us to speak with, or the exorcist who has foiled her kidnapping ways?
No,
what exactly are you asking?
I would prefer that you leave the exorcist alone, as a matter of fact. What I'm asking is this. Would you be averse to murdering my sister?
What exactly do we get in return for
Yes.
said murder?
Well, that's why I need to know what you want.
We're not mercenaries. You need to understand.
Well, I mean, frankly, if she's causing more harm than good, if she's killing people, if we don't do that, then what are we doing here? If we don't stop murder.
There's a certain amount of information that is pertinent to us that I worry your sister may be holding on to. So,
Things she hasn't told me, or designs upon you?
this is what I can tell you. I would very much like to speak with your sister. That is a meeting that I would very much like to have. I cannot guarantee any outcome after the fact. If maybe not all of us walk out of said meeting, that's just the way things go sometimes.
I understand, and I can respect that stance. My personal plan has always been to grow this freehold into, and I hesitate to use such a hackneyed convention given my physical appearance, but a garden of wonders, wherein those that wander in might discover something and wish to stay, and if that ends up badly for their well-being, sometimes the fly wanders into the Venus flytrap or the carrion plant. But I am not of the opinion that stealing people and using them up with quite so much regularity is a wise choice.
I would agree. Like I said, I will meet with your sister, and I cannot guarantee what the outcome will be. I guess that all depends on her behavior during said meeting.
He gestures to one of the small hobgoblin-type creatures that's nearby, that's sort of like this hunchbacked, vaguely humanoid, but made of bark thing, and it's got like a little beehive for an arm. But they're not like angrily buzzing around. They're just sort of like lazy bumblebee type stuff. Carpenter bees, the black ones that bore holes in wood.
Those lazy carpenter bees.
Go and see if the princess would be willing to speak with the ambassador. Shortly thereafter, the hobgoblin runs off and will return and whispers in his ear, "Oh, it seems that she's very enthralled with speaking with the craftsman and the one with the demon. And she'll let me know when she's done speaking with them. I cannot compel her to meet with you. One of the unfortunate parts about our power-sharing arrangement."
Then we'll wait.
So it occurs to me, he'll gesture, and the hobgoblins will bring out something a bit more substantial food-wise. It's all vegetable-based. There is nothing meat-based in it whatsoever. And for the Twitch viewers, unlike the princess, none of the hollow-eyed, formerly human individuals are serving this individual. The co-ruler does not appear to share his sister's proclivities for husking out a human being, so to speak. It occurs to me, and this is after several minutes of just polite banter, that whatever it is you're researching, there have been a number of people who've come through here doing research in the past. Not of, I believe, whatever kind it is you're doing, but hiring bandits, trying to bribe me, in fact, to cause a bit of a ruckus.
Why?
Well, you recall your compatriot said that there are certain things that we must play close to the chest. I note that she has told me nothing about what it is you're really doing here.
I know nothing about any sort of shenanigans with bandits. That is absolutely unrelated to our presence in the area. In fact, we kind of, all of this is simply the result of a horrible storm, really.
Yes, well, I'm afraid that Paratus was overzealous in his anger.
I would say so.
The bandits, there was the woman who came through with the young northern girl. She had a scar on her face and carried a crossbow. She claimed that she had been hired by a god
Listen,
to assassinate a lesser god.
did you have one of these? On her collar.
May I? And he gestures to one of the hobgoblins, whispers in his ear, "One moment, please." A few moments later, fairly ethereal fair folk with like leaves for hair and whatnot, like sort of stalks over. She's like 9 feet tall, and most of that is neck and legs. Goes, "Do you recall the woman? Did she have one of these?" She sort of nods. "Could you?" Thank you. And as you're watching, the Raksha sort of shifts and twists, and she shrinks, and her face melts and flows into an essentially near perfect copy of this woman, like cruel looking scar, like she'd gotten jacked with some kind of jagged serrated knife along the face, and this body posture that's like the Punisher almost. It's sort of like the dead-eyed look of, I've killed hundreds of people and I'm not going to weep about any more. Yes, that would be the woman.
Someone you recognize?
That's Soam. Yes, I do. Where is she going, do you know?
Somewhere to the southeast. She said she had to bring this young lady somewhere around the lap.
Was the young lady captive?
She didn't seem to be, interestingly enough. She was following along. There were no shackles. She didn't appear to be free in the sense that she would leave, but she was definitely not coerced into doing things.
If Soam's involved, it's not good.
How
Well,
long ago was this?
Oh, 3 weeks, 4, something like that.
In the freeholder outside of.
She wanted to extend an invitation to me that a particular god wished to have our freehold's help in killing some people along the trade road, desecrating some shrines, that sort of thing.
Is there anything further you could tell us about this? I will gladly do what you want. If you tell me every detail.
Well, not making any promises.
I'm making a promise right now.
Okay.
Duly noted. This is what I can tell you. Whatever she wasn't a normal human being. She carried a stink of death about her that was quite repugnant, but not in the way that your friend with the zombies does. That's actually rather pleasant because it's different. No, hers is somehow just very wrong. And the young lady that she was with was very, very well-spoken, very self-possessed. They were headed southeast because they had heard about a young man who'd been bringing all of the desert tribes near the Lap and Gem together. Something that they would normally do, never normally do, apparently, because they're always fighting with each other. And this young man appeared to glow with the golden light of the sun occasionally, and I thought, that's an interesting fact. I should remember that. Haven't seen one of those ever. Now I have. So I believe that she was going to assassinate this man.
Is there anything you want to do with this information, Manos?
I'm a man of my word.
Mm-hmm.
What do you need from me?
I will need to concoct a good excuse for something to go wrong for my sister. And should I be unable to find a circumstance that would be appropriate, because it must look like she is in the wrong or a terrible accident befell her,
Yes.
then I will release you from this place, but reserve the right to call upon you via my own glamours for a year and a day, and have you return to the freehold to see the task done.
Deal.
Excellent. I think that this is quite acceptable. And I am not unfair in my deal making, at least so I have been told. As such, if something were to happen to you or happen to her and the deal could otherwise not be fulfilled to my satisfaction because of events outside of our control, I would allow your soul to reincarnate.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I have no use for a hollow assassin. I have plenty of those. And he gestures at some of the hobgoblins. So, yes, she was working with Cindeline, the mistress of assassins. Have either of you heard of her? Zara might have, actually, if she wants to make an occult and int.
Occult and int?
Mm-hmm. Or lore and int, depending. You'll just get slightly
Well, I
different.
have a cult, so.
Yeah. Give me an occult.
I have 2. Okay.
All right. One of those, you're like, oh gosh, I could have sworn I read something about her. Cindeline, the mistress of assassins, is one of what are known as fallen or forbidden gods. They're gods that did something against the celestial order or have been censured by the celestial bureaucracy in such a way to have their worship of them basically said, no, you don't get to worship them. She was an ally of Pashak the Liar, who used to run the trade road, godwise, between the Lap and Onteng. And basically both of them got screwed over when the mistress of the trade, Eru of the Long Road, is now the primarily venerated deity along this road. And both of them were gods that basically got shut out in the cold and might be scheming to try and get some of that lost power back.
So this is in reference to the statue.
Yes, the statue that had been desecrated may have been done on her behalf. Because sometimes I bring stuff back around that you might have forgotten.
Well,
Would you like another
Manos,
drink, sir?
Yes, please.
Would you
Bump.
actually allow me to have a word with my companion?
Absolutely.
In private?
Simply throw a rock down the hallway when you're done. You will
Very
get up
specific.
and trundle away. He's got a rolling gait.
Manos, is there anything that you would like to tell me right now? Seeing as you just completely made a very important group decision all on your own, I
made
feel
a
like I
deal.
should be involved on what's going on.
Listen, you're right. However, I made this deal between me and him. I will do this on my own. You can get whatever you need from this woman. This is very important to me.
I don't know if we need any more information from this woman. I merely wanted to ask her about Kaz's sister. I honestly don't care whether she lives or dies. However, we're not mercenaries, and we have bigger matters at hand.
That's why this is for me. You can do whatever you want. You can get it. And you don't know that I'm not a mercenary. You don't know the things that I've done, and if Kaz's sister is with Som, that is not a good thing. I need to... Do you see these? Each and every one of these I have. This was mine. This, Uruz, this, Malos, these are the people who wronged me. She is one of the people who wronged me. It is my job to go and exterminate them. You don't have to come along. I understand. You have your things to do. You have your importance. You have your grand world schemes where you can pretend to not care about someone who's stealing people and eating people. But I have to do my thing. I have to stick by what I believe in and what I believe in, as I cannot let these people live. And if we are not doing things to make this world better, then what are we doing?
I think that you missed the part where I said I really don't care whether she lives or dies. I'll help you. But we do have to ask her a few questions first.
Deal.
Okay. So I guess throw rock down the
Sure.
hallway.
He'll return. It's clack, clack, clack. Because he didn't leave any hobgoblins around to eavesdrop, at least not that were visible. He'll return, and several hours will pass as he waits for the Princess of Nectars to get done with whatever it is she's talking to Whist and Korosek about. And eventually, a hobgoblin will rush up and anxiously tell him that she's ready. She's ready to talk to the ambassador. Oh yes, this way, madam. And Datura will lead you through the freehold up onto the tree branches where they had been having their own little tea ceremony and whatnot, with none of your allies or companions there, but the Princess of Nectars is waiting. And Datura just gestures and says, whatever you have to say is for her ears only. It's part of our deal.
Excellent.
Finally, I get to speak with you. I'm terribly sorry about that, but the gentleman Whist, he made very interesting business suggestions for
he's
me.
known for that.
Yes, he is.
Also having a lot of holes.
I correct myself. Korosek wasn't actually there to begin with. It would be
all
Svara
three of us.
that she had been talking to.
Yeah. I just have the plans.
What can I do for you?
Oh well, I mean, I'm so glad that you've met up with the majority of my fellow traveling companions, and we don't want to take up much more of your time. It's just I hear that you ran into another one of our companions prior to meeting up with Whist and his spooky little friend.
Not that I'm aware of.
No?
Could you be more specific in a description?
Northern.
Oh, yes. I thought that was tacitly already understood. Yes, Kaz came to offer me the pig he killed.
Yeah, I heard that you were very interested in his bow.
Yes. It's my sister.
Yeah, I heard about that part too. It's so very interesting. I wanted to know more about your experiences with Northerners.
I met one fairly recently traveling with a woman with a crossbow. She had a scar on her face. The young lady was wearing a blue dress, white shawl. She seemed relatively well-spoken for her young age. She was polite, which is more than I could say for her companion.
How recently was this?
Maybe a month ago.
Maybe a month ago. Where were you traveling to at the time?
I wasn't. They stopped here.
Oh, okay. I believe that I did hear about this. How much contact did you have with the Northern lass and her traveling companion?
It was relatively brief. She wanted my brother and Paratus to go kill some people. And I thought, well, sure, they can go kill people if they want, but I guess they couldn't reach a business accord that they favored.
So, it would appear that you really didn't spend any more time with them than your brother did.
Not especially, no.
Well, in that case, have you met my friend Monos?
He seems to have allergies. I'm sorry if I'm pollinating too much.
No, don't worry. I have a question.
Yes.
Did you happen to know where they were going?
Oh, That I did find out. There are ruins in the desert out there. Ruins of an old city that were destroyed. That is where the lady was headed. She was interested in a man who was gathering desert tribes together under the banner of the sun. Beyond that, she wouldn't tell me, so I let it go.
Well, that's very useful.
Very, thank
information.
you. Thank you for all that you've done.
Of course.
Uh,
Yes?
Modest, I'm done here.
Oh, excellent.
Please,
Thank you
please.
for doing the talking this time.
Please.
I should let you know that I have reached an accord with your businessman.
Oh, what kind of accord?
He told me about the geomancy that was ongoing and the manse, and he has given us first right of refusal for the first age stories contained inside. And in exchange, we will help him with his geomancy and ensure that things don't kill you on your way in.
He promised this to you,
Yes,
or
to me.
to you and only you?
Well, I am the ruler, so if he promised it to me, I was speaking in capacity as one of the two rulers of the freehold.
Oh,
So I am capable of enforcing this upon my lessers.
oh, right. Well,
So what you're saying is you only really need one.
We also did swear a non-aggression pact between our two respective groups, and that we would not cause each other harm.
Hey,
Until you're done with the manse, after which case, if you've screwed us, we might devour your faces.
oh, I hear you're good at that. Now, what if? Can I take a little powwow for 1 second?
Of course, certainly. She'll just wander away.
What if I just break up with you guys and go for it?
what I'm thinking is that her brother is the other ruler. He seems quite eager to get rid of her.
Yeah.
And while the deal is very helpful to us, I don't necessarily see why something horrific and unseen happening would do anything to interrupt that. So basically what I'm saying to you right now, just go ahead, take care of it. Just
Okay.
go ahead and take care of it.
I grab my
Done
flame
here. We're
wands
done here.
and I call. Is she still in the room?
No.
She's gone. Do I have to throw a stone or something?
No, she's just, you could see her down the way, surrounded by attendants and things like that. But I should note that your deal was that it looked like an accident, or in some way she would have to provoke it and break the terms of diplomatic immunity.
Well, what? So she has servants around her,
Yeah,
correct?
absolutely.
Could you describe the room that she's in?
It's not really a room so much as a garden pathway stretching between trees. It sort of winds up along branches to where you're standing. But it's at this point that I should note, temporally speaking, that a great clamoring begins as the hordes of Raksha begin rushing out of the freehold, including her, excitedly jabbering to themselves about how the geomancy is almost done, and it's time to go get all of those lovely, lovely stories.
So everyone's running about then.
Yes.
There's a bit of a distraction, you're saying.
I'll put it this way: if you were in a crowded mall with a lot of excited people to go to a book signing, and you opened fire with an assault rifle, it really wouldn't be a distraction that would help you. It would be a distraction that hindered you.
What is she made of? What can I like? What would?
Flesh and plant life,
Oh,
like wood.
well, plants don't usually do well with booze, right?
That's a good question. You've had no experience with that.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I were to,
Why don't you just put out your foot, tripper?
and like get it, just that's what I'm thinking. I want to
Yeah.
get trampled. That's my. I mean,
Tie your
I'm
shoes-
ultimately
tie
leaning
your
towards
shoes
trampling.
together.
I
Tie
just
your
don't know
shoes
what she's
together.
made of because everyone's like, some people are immortal, some people are ghost people, some people are husks. I have no idea.
So, because this is a flashback, and as much as I hate to do it, She's not going to be tripped because she's got a dexterity of like 7, and it's out the wang. And shortly thereafter, there's a tremendous explosion.
Oh, well.
And this is after she is out. There was a tremendous explosion, and this is wherein Monos was thrown into the air,
Yeah,
only to land over by the manse as it appeared.
Yeah.
Zarhov, on the other hand, like the ground erupts and just like slides apart like there's a huge earthquake, and Monos is catapulted several dozen feet into the air over that way, as the sky kind of cracks and rips as the freehold's boundaries come unmoored from reality.
Yeah.
You have no idea where the other ruler is, but I'm assuming that Zarhava would like to get out of there, unless she wants to loot it of things and people. I don't know.
Can I grab some cash and stuff?
They don't really have money, is the thing. I mean, you could grab some shiny rocks or some nice acorns.
I'll grab some shiny stuff and then
Is it like a cat
maybe,
shaped
maybe
like,
a nice
shrub?
picture.
It's just like a painting off the wall.
Everybody rubbing up on my stealing game, and all you steal is a robot arm? Fuck.
I
I
still
like
romance
my
novels.
robot arm.
So for Zarhava's benefit, by the time she exits the freehold via mundane means rather than being catapulted through the air, all of the fair folk that had rushed out there have been destroyed. They have been blasted apart into twigs and berries as the wild repelling field of the manse tears them asunder, including the Princess of Nectars, who was foremost there and kind of got turned into a pile of dead leaves.
Well,
And that's why I was so happy to see you guys at the beginning of last week's episode.
Yeah, hey, my job is done.
Yeah.
Glad we could help.
It'll take Zarhava a while to get out there.
yeah.
The party is nowhere to be seen. The front door of the manse is open, and there's a partially destroyed brass 9-foot-tall automaton that's had a hole burned in its chest, sort of fallen over by the front door. And it's up to you if she goes inside, or just says, nah, they got this one.
They got this one.
All right. Now we're all relatively caught up. About 3 hours later, there is a shuddering crack as the manse ceases to exist. Air rushes back in, and they have not exited the manse.
Well, shit.
Meanwhile, in the underworld, you have all literally just exited the manse. It's I don't believe I've described the underworld for the viewers. The underworld is a dark and twisted reflection of creation. The trees have Spanish moss growing on them almost invariably. Their branches twist like bony fingers into the air. Everything is decaying and old. Buildings meet at odd angles. There's this general sense of malaise. The stars are wrong. It's never bright daytime. Animals are ghostly reflections of what they should be, and many of the animals are not in any way, shape, or form analogous to real-world things. For instance, none of you have ever seen a semi-glowing squid-type thing floating through the sky in a forest.
But,
How,
Just-
but I like
how
it.
big is...
About that big.
Oh.
It's like small squid.
It's adorable.
Yeah.
Don't touch it.
It's
Where
sort of
does it
blorp,
at?
blorp, blorp.
I just see like
I
little
just like
things that
wave
aim-
it, I just wave it away.
It just whiff, 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 whiff. It definitely behaves like an animal. For your benefit, those are known as plasmics. They're just ghostly animal-type things. They're collections of desires that have accreted into a vaguely animal form.
Wow.
So squid desire.
Can I, if I were to touch it, would that be weird?
I just waved it, try to wave my hand.
I mean,
through it
in the
away.
same way that touching a squid is kind of weird.
I touch it. Instantly.
What's the plan, ladies and gentlemen?
Well, this is nice.
Yes.
I've
Yes.
never been here before.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
Uh,
think.
it's a whole new world.
I remember.
Yeah. This is the underworld. Welcome.
Yeah.
Don't be too afraid. I know it's not a place you would have normally gone unless.
It does sound a bit spooky. The whole under part, I think.
Right. Well, you know, it's no more spooky than like mimes and stuff, right? Just
Mimes?
mimes.
Oh.
That too.
Oh.
But that too.
All right.
But
Ooh.
yes,
So
you have a
quiet.
point.
So spooky.
Trapped in a
also,
box
yeah.
of death.
I do like the floating squids.
Oh, what are those?
Um,
Those aren't real.
I touched one. It felt slimy, but like not the
Oh.
normal kind of slimy.
so, brief explanation. You know, when someone dies, if they've got too much unfinished business, they don't reincarnate, they become a ghost. When somebody's not at that point, but does have attachments, desires,
squid?
dreams, they sort of rip from them a little,
We-
almost like a little piece of their soul is left behind, and they kind of coalesce into something new.
Some kind of like soul celebration paper just thrown. into
It
the
would-
But
air.
they're squids instead.
But they're squids.
Yeah, it's not actually celebration. It's more like what happens when you've got too much attachment. That part of your, it's like when your clothing snags on a nail and it rips a little bit.
Okay, now this might be getting a little into this, but is it do you get to choose what it becomes?
No.
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 The crystalline whip.
Oh, that'd be nice.
By our agreement, I am the herald and the shepherd of all the items, as bound by our friend Cass when we began this.
Do you want to carry it then?
Please.
Okay. Here you go, buddy. It's really heavy.
I'm gonna wrap it in some cloth, not even touch it.
It's extremely heavy.
Do you need some cloth?
Woo,
I
that's
stole some
better.
Dresses.
You know, you
Wait,
can.
so you have to roll to hold it?
No.
Oh, it's heavy.
I give.
Do you even get the baby
pull the dress-
sling? Is it like
yeah.
the big baby
I
sling?
pull out my little my fanny pack and no I give it. It's the fancy ladies thing. Forgot a name. It's very long.
shawl.
Her indestructible clothes. It'll be safe.
Oh, the Arden Phoenix stuff.
Yeah, so I pull out just a very white dress with like a red line on it.
Where did you get this?
Don't worry about it.
You always ask questions.
Yes, that's how you learn things.
The same places I got these, and I hold up my 2 romance novels.
Oh, those were good ones.
Yes, I hear. I can't
Quite
wait to
juicy.
show them.
Actually, I wouldn't know that because it's Old Tongue.
Haha!
So yes, of course, you are the guardian of this. No question there. My only thought is that we might not want the pieces to touch each other or like be too close together. We don't know enough about it to know what might happen if they do.
It needs a third part for it to fully work. I don't know if we should get it. I'm actually of the belief that we should destroy this. I have a bad feeling it's been clarified by what me and Cass saw.
Tyler looks happy. This is bad. You know, it's
What happened to asking questions and learning things? You don't actually want to learn. I mean, books.
You learn enough to know that when there's too much knowledge, people do very bad things with it.
Also, we have 2 of the 3 pieces, which makes us a target if anyone finds out. Makes it easier for them to get it.
But we're not going to be carrying this stuff around and running around with this.
Yeah,
We're
when
targets of prophecy.
What?
What?
yes. What?
You brought the copies, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna turn so that Cass can pull out the relief.
He's just got these stacks and stacks of really hastily done wood carvings of the bas reliefs, complete with
Well, how long is
mostly legible Old Realm.
Lay 'em
Okay.
out.
Well, I can go ahead and translate if you wish. I'm not sure what these things are, but
No,
Is
no, no.
that why?
Sequence.
Why is
Oh,
it the
sorry.
number 9? Oh, dog. Never mind. Okay, yeah, sorry. It's it's passable. It's fine.
Yes,
Look.
they're still in the underworld, by the
How-
way.
How
I-
fast did it take you to do these?
Half hour.
all right, study
Cool.
buddy, you
It
wanna
was
get to
cool.
the art of translation with me?
No.
Might we like go somewhere more alive than this before we start?
There's nowhere else down here that's more.
I should
alive.
also note that as of right now, none of you, aside from Zarhava and Svara, are regaining essence. Because when you're in the underworld, you don't.
That's fine.
Oh.
Oh, emotes are the motes.
Mhm.
So wait, what did I even
I'm
have?
just gonna
before?
have forgotten about that fact.
Yeah.
Well, it's also currently one way because I'm cheating to make you work as a player
Oh,
character
it's
because
fine.
normally you don't get
Yeah.
motes back.
I know my peripheral isn't spent, but I got all my
All
personal
right.
back because I'm not a dum dum.
I know I have 4.
Yeah, Zarhava is the only one
Oh,
not in the
yeah,
underworld
I
as
lost.
well, so she's fine.
Yeah.
She's chilling with Anshul and those 3 geomancers and the captain of the airship who's getting the airship back, and it's almost working. She's like, I made coffee.
Those tree people got the wackiest tobacco. Well, I guess they're all dead.
It's not
God, I wish
wacky
I
no
were there
more.
for this.
It's the wacky.
Taking a nap.
a dirt nap.
Just like, yeah, dirt nap.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
Thank you,
right. We
Bracelet.
should eventually get back to the surface, as you can
I'm.
call it.
We've been here for quite a while. I don't feel any stronger. Usually.
I've actually only been there about 5 minutes.
Oh really? It's only been
Yeah.
fun. A comment round. Damn it.
I dodged it. There's no.
I should note there is an explicit rule: you cannot attack your own party members to regain essence and to gain to gain withering initiative.
We're always in a fight. Read it. Don't get anything out of this.
So we could definitely get back to the surface.
Just start like, oh, we should translate. So if you laid them down on the ground already,
Yeah,
even though we're
yeah.
just trying to figure out like, probably should get back. But I am down to actually translate this. This is pretty cool. But we do need to get back.
Yes, it'll take us a little while to find a place that'll be able to give us passage. So let's look at this first, and then while we're looking for that, we can think on it, right? Right?
I just sit down and drink.
Yes. Yeah.
As
Sure. I mean,
looks like you're-
you wanted. So what's more important to you? Feeling great and powerful. What did he call you? Holy man.
Holy man!
Or would you like to learn about this? You want to learn old realm? Do you want to learn some old realm?
I grabbed the booze.
So we're in a creepy dark forest with floating ghost squids. This is perfect. Study picnic.
The floating, glowing
I'm-
ghost squids, you'd be able to see better.
I'm just gonna roll
Just
the,
grab
the-
one down and
just
just
roll it down, grab its tentacles so you can see it close to the paper. Yeah.
just because
fly
I
it like a
can.
balloon.
I
Just walk around.
have to rule that the ghost squids also occasionally make little Metroid cooing noises.
Yes!
Oh, yeah.
Yes!
So, long story short, the old realm on those bas reliefs is somewhat difficult to translate because it was carved by a guy who was carving the shape and not knowing what the words meant. But it's mostly legible, and it is an account of Ardent Phoenix's life and her realization when there was a time when all of the Sidereal got together to try and figure out what they would do about the problem of the excesses of the solar exalts. And what they decided, apparently, was to kill them all and to make sure that there were no more solar.
See? Assholes.
She decided that that was probably a bad plan, and had already begun construction of the manse. Because when she had gone into the underworld, Malphus, to speak with he who sees the shape of things to come, she had seen a future that did include them and did have great things happening again, and thought the prophecy made by the Sidereals were flawed. Consequently, she fought against the Sidereals with the Solars and was put to death for it. But she knew that her death would be effectively meaningless because of her mastery of Ardent Phoenix Ascendant style, which is in a roundabout way referred to as the art of immortality in this this treatise. But it's flowery language, so it could mean a number of different things. It's definitely poetic language rather than a literal treatise. And the remainder of it shows individuals who were important for what she saw while she was in Malphus, namely a northern girl that would inherit power, who would travel with someone whose destiny had been broken and twisted, and whereupon the Solar would return to her manse to discover all of these carvings and find out the one ultimate truth that she could convey to very few of her brethren, which is there is no fate but what we make. Destiny is written by our own hands. And that's what's written on the last infinite staring into it bas relief.
I feel actually a little bit better.
Yeah. You were freaking out about it for nothing.
It's not everything.
Why is this present participle? They use it exactly back here. What language doesn't make sense? Stupid language.
And
Yes, it's the
I also
language
did. She
fault.
probably also didn't die because because Korsek already knows like it's the legend of the Ardent Thief. I mean, she already
Yeah.
stole the scroll. Like,
Yep.
technically, she should not even be really dead. So jokes on them.
My presumption is that it might be the Northern Girl, reborn.
And yes, Krellin, I did steal that line directly from Terminator 2 because it's a pretty good message when it comes to time travel and prophecy. Because I personally think that prophecies that you can't break are stupid.
Well, the Northern Girl.
Kaz has a sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, right. We haven't
Yeah.
told. We should have shared
No,
time.
we
So,
think we did talk about it because you were freaking out when you came back from camp.
Oh.
Yeah, he told
We had a
us.
So, yeah.
conversation. Oh,
so
well, good thing we
Yeah,
were planning to, I guess.
yeah, I mean, I guess it all kind of
Fate's
comes together in the
stupid.
end.
Kaz's sister.
Prophecy
Northern
is
Girl.
fucking stupid.
I know who has her.
That
Prophecy is fucking stupid.
Sorry, this didn't come up earlier, but I know who has
we,
resisted.
we literally were in a battle with robots.
Yeah. So
You took an
now-
arm. It's crazy.
Yeah, Shokan's got it. Sometimes
Manos.
we pay fetch.
Who's she with?
Som.
So,
Someone who
Someone-
betrayed me. Someone very dangerous. Someone very powerful.
What's her name?
Som.
Soam. Okay.
They are headed towards the ruins of some old city. There's a man gathering. Was it Solars? Tribes of Solars?
That was the implication is that the man gathering the desert tribes may have been a Solar.
Okay. There was a man gathering the desert tribes who may have been a Solar. Just repeat what he said.
Well, this is all very interesting, and I think that we should be wary of anything that the fair folk told us. As you all know, they are creatures that lived on story, and as one who is of that type does, things tend to take on a life of their own with each telling of that story. And the same with prophecy. You know, I know it's a little intense to see us or you there, but it does not mean that our fates are necessarily even intertwined with this any further than we went into the manse.
We will always be looking for patterns. People always look for patterns. We always see them.
It's at this
because we're
point that
meant
you
to.
find a nice reflective pool in the forest.
Oh,
Because I've been
look!
assuming that you've been wandering.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would do nicely. You'll just end up a little soggy on the other side.
Yeah. All right. So if you're all ready, we can go back to the surface. We can use this
Walk in.
pool here.
It's just like pop. Like, I've never seen him get like that filthy that fast.
So she'll weave her necromantic spell. You don't have to roll for it because you're not under threat, and it's just build a certain number of necromantic motes, cast it, and
So
the-
is he just waiting in the water while the spell is casting?
Yep. And the ripples turn the water black and sort of onyx-like, like the pool has become obsidian almost, and Whist falls through, Shoof. And the rest of you will travel through at a time of your choosing, but it should be soon. Otherwise,
I'm gonna cannonball into it.
that would actually probably ruin it for everybody else because it does have to be mildly reflective.
Oh, you start running out.
I'm
And
gonna go
Corsa
last.
grabs your cape. It's just like you can go in last.
Deal.
And as you step
been a
through,
long time since I've
the
done
water becomes brackish and turns brown, and
Ugh.
vaguely, it starts to smell vaguely of decay and death. So you come out kind of stinky.
It's okay. It's fine. Everything's fine.
But fast forward, that means that
You're holding the orb too, and it's so heavy.
a vaguely a damp and stinky collection of your compatriots wanders out of the woods about half an hour later.
Well,
Hey.
someone that's had an adventure.
We went to hell.
It's
not
underworld.
hell. Yeah, but it's
Sorry,
not hell.
sorry. It's not hell. It's the underworld. My bad.
Oh well.
No, hell's a very real place.
The
I believe it. Fine.
the man's gone and all the fair folk are dead. So
Yeah, glad you made it out.
yes, we
Yes.
yeah it was very, very stressful, but all right, so
What am I smelling?
Is it my coffee?
It's you.
Yeah, it's
We all
probably
smell.
it's probably all of us.
I was going to suggest I would really love to catch up and hear about the exciting adventure you all surely just had, but mayhaps a shower first, a bath of sorts. I don't.
I wonder. If
I'm
I
sure
can
the
help out this
village would
place.
be happy to assist us, and we can bring them some good
That would
news.
be wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, the ship will be ready in about another 4 hours or so. I'm just filling up the last of the gas bag. So, I guess take a shower and come back, and I can take you back.
Is it midnight? Does midnight happen?
It's close, yeah. It's not quite there.
Summon a demon.
If you want to, yes, you can.
Summon a wasp because I don't want to fall out of the sky again. And I name it Sirena.
Okay, we'll get to that in a moment. Everybody who's dirty is going to take a bath.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Anything else that people are doing or prepping for?
I want to check around and just make sure that the other
The princess?
no, the prince.
Ah, yes.
I want to see if he's around anywhere because we did kind of make a deal. I
Yeah.
want to let him know that it
Yes,
kind of
I would like
it
to
was
go with it if that's
successful.
possible.
So
Give me your choice of awareness, investigation, or survival, and perception. Any of those three will do.
okay, I'll do survival. 2 successes.
You find no direct evidence of him being alive, but also you know that he wasn't there to be disintegrated because he had been in the freehold. And if he was at all powerful, he probably got out.
Just
Okay, well,
out of curiosity, is the guy with the bird in his eye dead?
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Good old bird eye.
He was my favorite.
They hollowed out his head,
Even the
and then a
two-headed-
bird lived in it.
Oh.
You liked him more than the two-headed guy?
Yeah.
Two-buck Chuck?
The 2 buck chucks. No, bird
So,
eye was my favorite.
At midnight, describe your demon summoning ritual.
Oh. So because this one is, I feel more delicate and more beautiful, I would have collected things like glass and delicate, like strippings of metal from around the village and possibly things from the forest to make this circle of what you will, or like circles, and like place the items there. And then summon her. I believe there is this beautiful, if you're awake in midnight, you hear this beautiful chimes, like these unearthly, like this melody play by, but it's as if it's this glass and the tiniest bells, and there was this wasp.
Give me an occult and int real quick.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah, you
6,
good. Yeah, you-
7, 8.
You bind that. You bind that agata like it's nobody's business. This is, it is a wasp that is made of stained glass. It is a cathedral window shaped into the form of a wasp that, when it walks, creates beautiful chime music, and it will immediately bend down so that she can climb on it.
This is cool. I definitely go for a fucking joyride because fuck yeah, because that is literally like I just want to summon you because flying and yes.
I just look up and smile at Monster Buddy.
Monster Buddy has more monsters.
And, oh, more bugs. Great.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Chime.
Love the sound. Hate the look.
I think about a lot of people.
Unless you have reasons not to, the captain is interested in leaving this place as soon as possible, like say at 1 a.m, because she wants out of this scary place.
Let's do it.
Are we going back to Thermopolis?
Yes.
Okay.
You have the other part of the machine, wasn't it part of the deal that you let them study it?
That part of the machine. I never agreed to this one.
Are we sure we want to bring both?
That's what I was
Pieces.
going at. If we have 2, that makes Thermopolis a very advantageous position for someone who wants to go.
Unless you can shove this into somewhere invisible.
The underworld's a pretty good place to hide stuff.
Someone can still get into the underworld and find it.
It's not as easy if you don't know how to navigate that. And anyway, just my master would be very good at protecting this. But it's all up to you.
He's really secretive. I could never have heard of him. Like, he's really good at keeping secrets.
Well, one of the reasons why he's secretive is because he's not one of those lords who's interested in amassing lots of power or anything that's...
Sure, because there's no such thing as people with great power who have no corruption at all.
I gotta say on an out of character level, I just love the very innocuous. We should give it to my Death Lord. That would be great. Nothing bad could happen.
I think it would be a much better idea if we don't have it on us.
Yeah, but I don't want to just leave it in the underworld. No offense to your master, I just don't want to leave it in the underworld because it does not. Because just the fact that we're there is already going to negate the fact that anything makes it true that anyone can get in there.
Curiously, does the Crystalline Rift have any sort of resonance that someone could feel its presence just by nearing it?
You're not really feeling anything other than God. It's heavy.
Is there a vault I can throw it into?
In Hermopolis?
Yes.
Oh, fuck yes, there is.
Yes.
They've got all kinds of dangerous shit that they don't want people getting into.
It doesn't have to be in the same room. It can be across the city.
I still think it makes it too easy of a target, and there's so many people that live in that city that if someone were to just want to get their hands on these pieces, a lot of people could die.
Okay, so we can carry one of them.
Why don't we take one to the underworld and one to the
Don't need it in
vault?
the underworld. Anyone can find it. Just because the underworld doesn't make it easy, less easier to find.
And one of the ghosts, because it's nighttime, and he's
And you
still
can't
around.
get there. You cannot get there easily.
If you left it in the underworld, I could just walk and pick it up, like put it in my fireplace or something like that.
Why in your fireplace?
Why would you?
Because
do
that's
that?
the only thing I think of in my house that's big enough to hold that. I have a very small house.
I wonder what real estate is like in the world. Do they have like real estate
Yeah,
brokers?
let's go into this.
Well, I mean, fireplaces aside, in my home there is a sort of reflecting pool that no one could survive going into, and we could simply drop the crystalline rift down into there, and you wouldn't. It is bottomless, essentially. You would go insane before you got
Common sense
halfway
check.
down.
Give me sense motive.
Nothing about that sounds good, Sfara.
do we? So
That
but
sounds like how horrible things happen.
the other option though seems to be going to the town that we're worried that someone's going to steal our stuff and putting it in one of their vaults. That also doesn't sound great.
That was about to get
And
attacked.
that's in a place of people studying magic. I mean, knowing that the two pieces are nearby could encourage people to experiment.
She's not wrong. She does seem to believe
No,
that
no.
she's got a bottomless pit in her home that you could drop something down and people would go mad before they got to it.
I do not dispute that she
sounds
has something
good.
like that in her fucking house.
Both of the other two occult ladies here are perfectly aware of what that means. It means that she's got a pit into what's known as the labyrinth where the dead gods lie and dream of nightmares all the time.
Which is why we're not going to put it down the fucking hole.
It's a really bad plan to put it down
Because
there.
even if you go insane, it twists things that you throw in there. So it's not going down the hole, but thank you. Then carry it. If you are so called the Herald, then carry the freaking crystalline rift with you.
Okay.
That's fine.
I have Mighty Few. I totally forgot about
Yep,
that.
you can have stuff.
Then
Okay,
carry
so
it.
we're taking it with
We
us.
can
taking it
you
with
take
us.
that.
Alright.
If it makes you feel better, I'm all for it. Because yeah, it
Let's-
probably shouldn't all live in the vault in the
let's-
same city.
The school that Zarahava was at would also be a reasonable place to store something long term, what with very powerful people and it being a hidden school.
But
Just noting that.
it's kind of far.
It is kind of far.
It's really
So,
far,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
That's the drawback.
And this being the crystalline rift seems like one of the harder ones to get to, meaning like pulling a freaking interdimensional house.
And we have some larger problems, even though I hate to say that. As I climb into the
Yep.
airship.
The airship takes off.
I'm just Evan
this
hovering on
conversation's
Sirena
happening while the
just
airship
talking
is
to you
flying.
the whole time, just on my wasp. Just
This is making
sitting,
like nice
just crossing,
chimes while
like,
we're
no
angry.
one.
I really want to like take a stick and start poking it every once in a while. I'm not
Gonna
going to
kill
do
you.
that.
Of course, I
Not
just
how you
looks
make
at you.
friends with bugs.
And I just
I'm gonna poke it with
no,
a stick.
if Whis does that, Corsac just kind of like drifts a little to the side so he has to reach farther.
So
I'm gonna take the stick and just throw it.
that night when people, fall asleep in the boat going back to Hermopolis, a couple of things happen. Number one is that Whist is going to wake up before anyone else, like that, sort of like 4 a.m, right before light starts to get that bluish gray color, in a weird cold sweat because he is being watched unendingly.
I'm going to draw the first sting.
You're going to what?
I'm going to draw the Forge's Sting really quick and just look around. Is there anyone?
The sphere is just sitting there watching. And that's where the feeling is coming from.
Okay.
It's watching but not understanding. because it resembles nothing if not a giant crystalline eye.
Maybe just like throw a jacket over it or something.
Yes.
I'm gonna throw. Actually, I'm gonna look. Oh, this.
Just like the
I still have my block of steel, don't I, from before?
You do?
I'm going to shave a plate off of it and begin to get it as reflective as possible. Put it on top of the eye and then wrap it in leather so it looks at itself.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. That's not
Yeah.
bad, actually. The solutions to Palantir. Svara, on the other hand, she is in a dusty plain that smells of smoke and fire and echoes with the cries of the dying.
So I'm meditating, yeah.
Yeah.
Does that what meditating?
How
That's
peaceful.
what meditating feels like.
Fire and burning and screams of the dead.
You know, sometimes when you try to quiet your mind goes to dark places.
Screams
pretty
at
fast.
you? It just screams at
And-
you.
And she's wandering through the field of dozens, if not hundreds, of dead soldiers from the realm, and at least 5 dead dragon-blooded. Just their corpses rent and torn asunder. Ghosts have begun wandering the battlefield because the violence that was done upon this place was so severe that they cannot pass on. They are compelled to remain tormented forever. And in the distance, past the broken soldiers, there is the small cairn of stones, partially constructed, with a very small hand sticking out from it.
A tiny hand?
A tiny hand. A child's hand.
Like a baby hand.
No. Like, say, a 7 or 8 year old's hand.
That's a baby to me.
So I'm in this space,
Mm-hmm.
kind of in a bit of a daze, and very alone. Walk over to this, and I begin moving the stones to get the children.
1, 2, 3, 4 children in the cairn, whose bodies she removes. Each of them killed in a military fashion. Their throats cut and bled out.
And I take a little while to sort of look at them, sort of unsure of what to feel, almost feeling nothing. And the one closest to me, I caress its hair, and I'm sort of just looking at it, and I take a sigh, and then I begin just basically cleaning the bones.
Yep, flensing the flesh away and preparing the bodies, because she is nothing if not an undertaker. And that's when she wakes up, sort of out of the meditation as the sun is rising, and there's this creepy feeling at the back of her neck that, like, you could probably, given the right ways to break the universe, you could probably undo that. It wouldn't be them. But you might get a facsimile of them back. But you'd need to use that thing that he's wrapping in leather and a steel plate.
Well, luckily I have become fairly adept at resisting temptation, especially anything that would attach me to anything. And so I kind of just laugh. And
It's not an external feeling either. It's just like it's the dark part of her own mind going, I bet I could figure out how to use this. I bet it could be useful.
And if you were to see me in this space of meditation, it is a more sort of involved meditation that I was doing, hoping to sort of see into this future with this crystalline rift and the other things we've collected, sort of worried about what destruction it might bring. And if someone were to walk in, they would see the bones of 4 small children sort of standing around me in different corners, holding candles, and a number of crystals and such sort of in a circle around me.
Since we're on a boat, we can all see that.
Yes, you can.
Well, you're all asleep. It's fine.
Yeah, it's 4 a.m, right?
Whist sees it though, because he's the one who got woken up.
My awareness is not that great, so
No, especially not when you're meditating.
I'm not gonna notice that.
Yeah, they when she starts to meditate, they kind of self-animate and assemble themselves out of their respective resting places in pouches on her person, and then proceed to act as assistants in her meditation.
Yeah, as she comes down and laughs, I'll just be sitting there in lotus position with my chisel, cutting it open, a piece of apple, just eating it like this. Remember our talk earlier.
I'm still meditating,
Oh yeah,
right?
she's still meditating for a good amount of time after you see that.
Oh,
video.
after even the evil cackle.
Yeah, she's deep in it.
I'm gonna, do that and back away while eating my apple.
That's a wise move. So, the boat returns to Hermopolis. Day and change later. Nothing else creepy happens on the flight back. No storms, no unseasonable stuff. It's all well and good. And the captain will bring you down to the same dock that she picked you up at, which is one of the private docks for the College of Sorcery, and begin unloading all of the stuff that she had to load back on for your geomancy, such as mirrors and weird stuff like that, etc., etc. One other thing that slipped my mind, the Exorcist would have hopped a ride back, but frankly would not be a terribly interesting companion, because he's just like, I want tenure, damn it, that's what
Yeah,
I
I was
need.
just like, I think you earned it.
Exactly, that's why he's coming
Yeah.
back.
You did it.
It is it's about a day and change, so it would be fairly early morning, maybe 8:30ish. The smells of the city rising up in terms of incense and cooking food, and the sounds of people bartering and chanting and otherwise engaging in sorcerous affairs, such as drawing circles and doing ritual intonements and stuff like that. Well, sorry we got knocked out of the air by a bug man, but I think we did all right.
Thank you for this adventure that nothing spectacular happened.
Yeah, thank you. I'm
Good.
just absolutely fine with all of that. And if you ever need an airship captain, please call someone else.
It's so funny how people's convictions change with Jade.
Yeah, he did just
thought you were
like
giving him
hand her a
stuff.
great deal
No,
of money.
I actually have a block of Jade, which is one of the most expensive scripts, and I'm just slashing pieces off, which is like 1 month's wage, 1 month's wage, 6 months.
Yeah,
cheese peeler.
well, it's because he's got the ability to do that. Yeah. Jade is also a very useful sorcerous material, so naturally Hermopolis has more of it than the average. Generally, the realm will forbid you to trade in jade because they need it all for making weapons for Dragon Blooded. But out here, not so much. What's everybody's order of business that they're after?
Wobble Brains, I'm gonna talk to you, and if it's okay, Corsax is gonna go to, like, just walk in a random direction with you.
Okay.
That's it.
What do you want?
I never see you get serious back there. So what's this about? Soam. Who are they?
Soam.
Yeah.
She's a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very dear to me. She
Dear
was-
enough to kill.
Yes. Absolutely. Soam and 7 others, we were mercenaries. I handed the coins. These, we all wore these when we were fighting, when we were doing.
No, don't throw it at me, please. It will hit me. No, it's
I don't
fine.
have glasses on, it's great. We were a part of a team. A team that betrayed me. A team that betrayed everything they stood for now.
Altogether, they just
Yes.
left you out. Left you.
As we just said, money
Yes.
can be a very powerful motivator. They turned on me because I refused to go with them. And they killed. Grab more alcohol. They killed my dog. And now, I am hunting them down. So, Soam, whether you guys decide to come with me, I am going there. And I'm going to find the Northern Sister.
I didn't realize how dilly he was until this moment.
I mean, And the minute Kaz came back talking about it, that was going to be probably the next thing to go. Besides, it's nearby, right? The desert's near the desert.
If you took an airship, you could probably make it there in relatively short order. A week, maybe a week and a half. On foot, it would be significantly longer because you'd have to go around the mountains.
Oh, good thing I have a wasp.
Yes, it's a good thing you have a wasp and a guy with a lot of money, too.
I mean, that next piece is at the bottom of some ocean, and that's actually a lot harder than digging up a magical manse that sort of appears in the right places at the right times.
And you've got 2 months before the Sea of Graves rises, so
Yeah,
you're
cool.
locked on a weird timetable
Cool.
no matter what.
So, I mean, we have time.
So you're
You don't
with
have-
me.
Kind of, it's all connected. I mean, I think prophecy is ridiculous and stupid, but, you know, we're all together. Besides, it sounds kind of fun. Broken destiny? Shit, man. Must be really fucked up if someone wrote a tablet about you. And decided to call you one of the broken destinies? Shit.
Mono's constantly just drinking more than normal at this point. Very not joyful.
Yeah. But, I mean, if it's gonna help you, sure, and it also helps Kaz. He's never asked for anything.
Thank you. I
So you
appreciate
get
it.
looking at it. I mean, I've heard of the city, right? Ruins or something. We did get information, right? I get it.
Just some
It's
basic...
just the desert. Okay, it's in
Yeah.
the desert somewhere. We're already in the desert.
You've heard of the ruins out there. They're just not particularly remarkable for any reason. So it's like, all right.
I think I have an idea.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm gonna have to get back and talk to my professor about everything I saw in the manse, but pretty sure in due time, I can talk to everyone else.
Myself and Eos, thanks you.
And if no one else wants to go, I'll go because it sounds fun.
Thank you.
Get on my wasp.
And you know, really,
because it's a really
exit.
tall wizard's tower.
this is one of the only places in creation where that won't get you shot on sight for being some kind of horrible
I'm
monster.
not gonna do that.
Like,
here.
yeah, whatever.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna,
we got
I'm
those.
gonna be me, sort of.
I think at the same time that happens, I'm gonna pull Zara and go exactly the opposite direction that she has to go.
Perfect. Perfect.
And as I go, I'm gonna keep looking behind me to make sure I'm not being followed. Pipe?
Just like appears anyway.
I'm gonna offer a pipe and some tobacco, and
No, thank you.
I don't like to do this very often, but I'm in over my head and I need some advice. And either I don't like the others or I don't trust the others. So
Oh, I don't trust anyone ever. But did something happen in particular to make you feel this way or to worry?
I came here because I had a hunch of destiny. There's very rare times when you have more than 2 solar exists, even in this great time. We have 5. We have 5 plus whatever Dr. No Name is. But
Well,
we have 2 pieces of the greatest relic I've ever heard of and read about, and I've done a lot of my adult life work looking for this. Now I've heard the story of the Northerner's sister might be being a great power, going to the east. I've been having premonitions of this thing actually seeing me.
what thing? The artifact
Well,
thing.
it's staring at itself right now, but I think it is cognizant, at least to some level. Some sentience is still left in it. It's greater than my comprehension, and I'm the smartest person I've ever met.
It's so modest, too.
Who can't read old
Well,
ones,
and
but
now
we
that we're
can.
back in the city, I was planning on writing to my school because, to be honest, they didn't tell me very much when they had me set out going after this. They really gave me very small details, and I want to check back in on any research that, was done while we were away. But I need to communicate with my school anyway, and I'll say that while I don't trust anyone, I at least have a slight respect for people like myself, if you understand what I mean. And I don't know if there is any reality to the way that you feel about being watched or what have you, but I'll let you know what I find out when I hear back from school, because I also am quite curious now. They were pretty excited to get me on the road. So
I appreciate it. I feel like time, even though we have months, is gonna close very fast, and there's 3 directions I can see. We can go to the west, but from what that vagrant said, that will not open for quite a time for the last piece. To the southeast is potentially Kaz's sister and something of interest in Monos.
and other solars.
That troubles me a little bit. Especially a solar who's making a tribe of tribes. That brings attention. Attention from the realm.
Still, it
It's noble.
couldn't be a horrible ally to have.
He's gonna kill himself and all of his men if he's so audacious to do that.
I quite respect it, in fact. I personally am not fond of hiding, and I think that the sooner that, well, I think that we could use a lot more people like this fellow. I'm very interested in meeting him, and of course there are very noble quests to be completed from other companions of ours, but I'm very interested to meet this character and see what he has to say.
I cannot agree with you, but I promise that you shall lead this expedition and I shall bend knee to you in these things. Can I ask one question though? I send a letter, a parcel to an acquaintance to the north.
Of course. That's none of my concern.
It will be a missive of some of what's happened. She might be able to assist us in time.
As long as it's secure.
It's secure, but it'll be at a price.
Well, you can figure out the price issues, but I see no problem with it. Allies are allies, so.
Anything that Kaz or Svara is doing? Just chilling out for a bit.
Went to return that library book.
That's awfully nice of you.
Aww.
Civic duty.
No fine.
And Kaz?
Actually, after Korosek left, I'm actually going to go over to Monos.
Okay.
So, you know, when I first met you, I didn't like you. I didn't know what to think about you, but I didn't like you. But
What I thought was that I didn't like you.
after all that, you know, I think maybe you're a good man. You know, and I think you compared to the rest of us, maybe the rest of us aren't. But I'm glad all this bullshit has brought us together.
In your defense, most days I don't like me either. However, I'm glad as well, especially if I can help you get some kind of semblance of peace with your sister. She seems well.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you know, but she seems well, from what we hear.
Well, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. I got your back.
Thank you, Kaz.
I assume that Zarahava has separate chambers than most people. Like she's
I
got her
would
own.
assume so,
Yeah.
yeah.
I assume, yeah, that would just.
That just seems.
I would have either told them to, or should just have gotten some.
That evening, after dinner and whatnot, it's sort of like the city is winding down, and people are like, most people would be going to public baths or things like that. One of the servants that has been that has come with the estate that you are staying at will knock on the door to her private chambers, and she looks pretty pale and kind of freaked out. She's like, "Ma'am, I think you've got a visitor."
Can you describe said visitor?
She's got 6 arms.
Okay. Can I roll for perception?
I'll give it to you. She got 6 arms. She's probably a god.
Occult and perception?
Yeah,
Or-
give me an occult and int actually, occult and int.
Okay.
Then she'll give it like she's got a nose ring that goes to her ear, and she's got like sari and things like that. Technically, I think it's a sour corta, but
3.
if she looks anything at all like all of the altars that you see at guild houses and whatnot, it is probably the goddess of the Flame Peaks Trade Road, Eru, who is the foremost amongst all of the gods venerated by the merchants in this area.
Let her in, but please Go. Will you please go describe that character to my my friend Whist, and also send Kaz, the one with the wolf, to stand outside the chamber doors.
I'll do that, certainly. And she leaves the door open, and it is definitely Eru, the goddess of the Flame Peaks Trade Road. 6 arms, very elegant, sort of a proper-looking Northern Indian-style dress and skin tone and stuff like that. And she sort of floats into the room. She's got a very elegant gait to her. And may I? As she gestures to one of the couches.
Oh, please.
She'll just sort of fold herself down into it while simultaneously producing a hookah out of nowhere and a coffee samovar type thing and table out of nowhere as well. Just sort of like out from under her robes, and suddenly they're there.
As you do.
What have I done to earn the pleasure?
I believe you had given your name to several people as an ambassador of the Unconquered Sun. And it has been a long time since I've had the honor of his attention. And I'll just give this to you. By that, she means she's never had the honor of his attention whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she is way too small fry for him. Whist will get the message, but will show up in a little bit. Same with Kaz. I find myself in an unfortunate predicament, caught between the Immaculate Order and the Prince of Liars, the Lord of Betrayers.
That sounds like quite a situation you've got on your hands.
I did hear...
All 6 of them.
I did hear that you had companions that had recently had dealings somewhere in the east via an airship. This is where
yes.
I've been having most of my problems. A woman with a scar, been killing my followers, been desecrating my shrines. I believe she even aided in kidnapping one of the princes of Hyrcania.
I've been hearing nothing but horrible stories about this exact same woman.
And I would just like to say that whoever had returned that prince had done a good thing for the trade of this area, because without that, I feel that Hyrcania would have been bottlenecked by the realm, and the guild and the realm would have reached a separate accord, and money wouldn't have changed hands, and that would have been a terrible, terrible state of affairs. At this point that Whist shows up.
You call for...
Coffee?
Oh, this is another one of my, I hope you don't mind, another one of my traveling companions. I'm sorry, what brings you without any warning prior?
My apologies. I just felt that we should have a conversation, and it just so happens that you have such elegant company here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Coffee,
Do you mind?
hookah? Not at all.
Please join us. Join us.
Yeah, as I do it often. I've never been around
I
the goddess
know
before.
you.
What?
I know you.
My works?
No, you. You broke a shrine in my name when you were leaving the palace in Hyrcania. I
Yes.
didn't know your name, but I know your face because I could see through the shrine.
It was ugly and defaced. You cannot like such
Of
works.
course. Who would allow such a terrible thing?
Surely you can understand. Very well intentioned. We were just discussing some mutual frustrations with certain havoc wreakers in the area. What exactly could the Unconquered Sun do to ease further trouble for you?
Well, it's a twofold problem, you see. First is the infighting between the houses in Untang has left the Immaculate Order feeling a little... I hesitate to use the word uppity, but I think it works in this case. They've been getting in my business. Normally we have an understanding and tithes come and go, but they've been withholding it for cults in favor of their own local deities rather than myself passing the prayers back to the Imperial Isle. Mostly, I think it's Venif and House Nellens that have been
Oh, yes.
butting heads over it.
Venif.
Yes. What's more, Pashak the Liar has decided that now is a time to ally himself with the realm and undo all of my fine works here at keeping trade running properly. How would you like to be wealthy beyond any reasonable measure?
I'm already wealthy beyond immediate measure.
So humble.
No, I believe that you're wealthy within a very reasonable and mundane level. How would you like a 2% cut of everything that goes through Hyrcania?
Well, that sounds like a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. But what exactly
I
are
need you
we
to,
discussing?
you need to kill several gods and undermine the Immaculate Order and shatter their grip in Unteng. So, as you can see, it's not a small thing that I'm asking
No.
for.
Well, we actually do have some similar names on similar lists. I do believe that we will be heading out quite soon to possibly rendezvous in an area where Pashak the Liar may be, in fact.
Good.
Strides can be made.
Really, I ask you as ambassador and speaker for the Unconquered Sun, you need not kill Pashak or his servitors. We simply need to broker a peace, because he has no place as a lord of bandits in a civilized society. Let him move to some place where there are more wild tribes. Perhaps the Lintha would be to his liking. The Lintha are famous non-human pirates to the west.
Well, I am quite good at making deals. It's kind of my specialty, so this is something that if we do have the pleasure of running into him, I will certainly look after. And of course, the money is quite the incentive. It's a nice perk, but I also must say that it's an honor to help and serve any fellow people of power such as yourself. I live to empower.
I do what I can. And if you look around, you can see that with my tending this trade road, and every city and city-state along it has prospered wonderfully. The people are better off at the low price of not allowing people to resort to banditry and murder for money, which I think is a fair trade. I mean, who wants to be ruled by the strongest sword, scrabbling at the dust for scraps?
I agree, and I find that it is simply an atrocity, too, that you have lost any former worshippers to politicians. And
it's really less losing them to politicians and more losing them to knives in the dark.
Well, that too. Yes, that too. I think that these are deals. Obviously, we have a lot of work to do,
Of
but
course.
considering that we were most likely going to be heading towards the east anyway, these are certainly goals that we can slowly start meeting. Would you agree?
As this is going on the entire time, you see Wiz just next to you smoking a hookah and writing on a quill. With the result of, what was that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pulls up a contract.
Just immediately has pulled up a contract. What were you rolling for that, by the way?
Bureaucracy and manipulation.
That'll do.
Yes. But in particular, it's for that 2%, and we'll talk about it more offline, but money doesn't do me any good, but that tithe can be used to raise powerful things.
I have many servants in the terrestrial courts. I have the ear of the elemental censor of the south. And should push come to shove, I'm certain I could find an audience with Al-Lat. You're familiar with Al-Lat, are you not? He is the war god of the south. Bull-headed monster.
Well, to be honest, when you said Venif, you had me alone, but you did offer
Of course I
recompense.
did.
Take a look at this. You do not have to answer it now, but
Maybe we'll talk when we return.
You can call upon me at any shrine if you make the appropriate offerings. I simply need to hear your voice and I will appear.
And I promise I will no longer destroy, and I find I shall repair.
Oh, well, if you were pressed for time, destruction is acceptable. I would rather
They shall not be defaced, though.
Excellent. I will take my leave, madam, sir.
Well, that was a pleasant surprise,
You-
unexpected visit. Thank you for coming.
You treat with
was-
gods? You never told me you treat with gods and goddesses. That's something.
I really do think that they deserve more respect than they're given in some parts of the land in this day and age. But thank you for joining. I was admittedly quite nervous about her intentions for getting an audience with me, but I think that we are pretty well aligned right now. So the 2%, that's
I know of her. I know enough to know that she's dangerous, but I believe you're right. What do I know of Pasha the Liar?
His pantheon, when it changed from banditry, because he was overthrown by Eru, he became the foremost god of betrayal in the south. And his pantheon of lesser servitors include assassins, brigands, at least one that's just a crocodile god, like a devourer, stuff like that. They are lesser gods, generally between Essence 3 and 4, that are gangsters. They are heavenly gangsters.
Heavenly Gang. That's my new album.
I was gonna say that is such a good band name.
Put it this way: if Pasha gains control again, all of our efforts against the realm will be put a halt because we'll be dealing all of our time just controlling him.
That's why we sent him away. I hear that he is to the east, possibly in the same whereabouts as the other people that we were planning on going to see anyway. So.
Don't tell the others this, but the Northerner's sister, a woman who Manos knows, and now a god treating with one that we're aligned with, all in a similar place. Some don't believe in prophecy, but that is a damn coincidence.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you that. It's
And, yes?
You hear a rumbling, and I come out of your closet.
dressed in my clothes again, probably.
I got lost.
How long have you been there?
Yeah, it's a pretty big closet. Can anyone point me in the direction of the bathroom?
I don't know you.
I come out of a cupboard. I don't know. I'm not in the room.
And yeah, maybe I do have some of your
As
clothes
long
on.
as you're here, do you have anything you'd like to add?
To what?
Do I need to even
Down
roll
the
for
hall
this?
and to the left.
I don't know. It's entirely plausible in my mind that Savara would have been paying attention to a book and not listen to a damn thing.
Awareness is very low, and it's very low.
And so it's up to Arya whether or not she was listening or not.
All I've heard is that there might be a lot of money involved with helping somebody or something, and I think that we could probably put that to a lot of good, especially if it's getting rid of this other person.
We don't have the money yet, as you also surely heard.
I mean, I really just heard a couple of words, but yeah. Anyway, bathroom.
Down the hall and to the left. If you pass the red door, you've gone too far. So then go back in.
Okay. And as I step away, you hear a little jangle of I've got a bracelet or anklet on that's totally hers.
Like this crazed pack rat. With that, I'm going to read some donations and we're going to go on break so that we can find the bathroom on an out-of-character
Just
level.
down the hall to the left.
Yeah, I think it really
It is,
is.
actually.
Yeah, it actually is. Yeah.
Do-do-do-do-do-do. Alrighty. Hey, look at this cool computer and stuff like that. Okay. So, starting at the bottom. Oh my, Tahoods, you have been busy. Tahoods, $50. Gotta support the time travel habit. Also, I can't read Hebrew. It looks like it says Gimar Katima Tova.
Yeah, it is.
Yom Kippur. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yom
Oh, okay.
Kippur started.
Atonement of all your sins.
Right,
Have fun.
Like Hebrew is one of those languages that just it never sticks in my head other than particular phrases. Yiddish phrases, they do.
I'll tone out.
Tahoods also $10. Marcus, why are you drinking thin milk, and why does Sally keep looking at you like she's going to be ill when you do?
That's how Sally looks at me normally.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Levi 7.62 with $50. Killing on the trade road definitely sounds like an accident as a distraction.
Killing on the trade
Or it could be a Nicolas Cage movie. I guess I'll know soon enough. Aridinsk, $10. Thank you all for doing this. The last couple of days have been really rough, so it has been a most welcome distraction. You're all awesome. The show is so great. And,
We love you,
and
Aaron.
Aridinsk is not lying. He's had a really, really hard couple of days. So
sorry.
I'm there's nothing I can say, dude. I'm very sorry.
Glad you're here.
Prove it near $30. Enjoying the show greatly, although time zones and the need for sleep often make watching live difficult at times. Regarding the year and a day, whose year and a day are we talking about? I think in this case it would be a year and a day as identified by creation. Although, to be fair, Raksha sometimes forget to think about that, so might be a year and a day that elapses in a week or 10 years. Who knows?
Also, a year and a day of whatever servitude, community hours.
Tahoods with another $50. Smar's inner voice. The plan? Why, it's always the same. We break the wheel of suffering, the serve the wheel of incarnation. Which I'm imagining is like that flames behind the lady from Bob's Burgers.
Yes. Tina.
Agiarchy, $5. This game is amazing. Thank you for running it, Tyler. Well, thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Odias, $50. Careful, Edmund Monos. Your mask is slipping. Remember that when it comes to revenge, the most expedient method is not necessarily the most satisfying. You no doubt escaped with difficulty. Plan that final moment with pleasure. Love you guys.
Dang.
And-
Solid luck.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Solid, like.
I could
Nice.
definitely see the count of Monty Drunkard. The Unspeakable, $5. Baby liminals, this pleases me. In reference to your bone children. Reign of Terror, $10. The storytelling just keeps getting better. Heart, thank you. I'm glad you think so. I always feel a little weird, like, oh god, how much can I juggle here? And Tahoods for $5. 2% split 6 ways for killing gods, plural. I'm just saying, Tyler, you know how to make a suicide run look tempting. Yeah, I do. I run a lot of Shadowrun. So thank you. We are going to take a break. We'll be back at 8:10. We'll do a brief recap. And stretch your legs, go pee, get a drink of
Snack.
water. Yeah, eat something tasty, because that's what you do. All right, be back in a few.